We were covered up, and I guess some wreckage had been found that was put behind us as a windbreak. And there was some kind of a tarpaulin or it was some kind of a heavy material that was put over.
As the hours ticked by, a ferocious storm blew up, bringing wind chill and unimaginable cold. Unable to move, Bob was freezing to death despite his makeshift shelter.
It was almost the feeling of the tingling feeling you have when your feet have been frozen, and that thawing, burning, tingling sensation. I was feeling that in my arms and my hands, and it would come and go, and it would almost run up to my shoulders, and then it would subside again, but I would have that burning, tingling feeling.
It was 32 hours before the first rescuers arrived to find 13 of the original 18 people on board still alive. The pilot who'd done so much to save Bob had died of hypothermia just hours before, but somehow Bob had survived.
I just thought either I was going to get out of there or I wasn't, and there was not a lot I could do about it. So it was a situation where, if I toughed it out, there was a chance.
Bob lost 2 toes from his left foot and his right leg to frostbite. But 8 years on, he now owns and runs his own supermarket.
Customers come, boy, it's cold out there. Yeah, sometimes I kind of laugh to myself a little bit. It's no, that would be balmy by our standards up in Alert. But it's just it's hard to believe how cold that was.
Bob's sheer determination to live was crucial to his survival. You can never underestimate the importance of a positive mental attitude.
Maybe it depends on your other knowledge, but it could be about 80%. The strength to live and the will to live and not give up and endurance and all that. So it's very, very important.
How important is a sense of humour?
Very important. Even if I cannot sing, it's good to sing.
Dr. Anders Holmström is the Swedish Army's advisor on frostbite and the effects of extreme cold on the human body.
The cold makes you stress hormones, and the stress hormones make you produce more urine than indoors. And you have to keep up with that, drinking a lot. Because if you get dehydrated, the blood volume goes down and the circulation goes down, and perhaps your ability to work goes down. So drinking is one of the vital things to think of.
In the Swedish Army, getting frostbite is a court-martial offence.
How do you thaw frostbite?
Well, you take your hand, put it on a place where it's white, and you just get the heat from the hand, and then the white spot is going away. But there's a problem if you have the hand. You have to put it inside your clothing like that, or if your feet, you have to put it in your comrade's armpit.
Is it dangerous to heat your hands too quickly?
Well, if you heat it with body heat is no difficult. But don't heat it on the fire, because you can't know how strong the fire is.
The Arctic can be really pretty, but of course the sunshine combined with all this snow can sometimes cause another problem: snow blindness. If you lose your goggles or your sunglasses, you'll be in real trouble. In those situations, you may have to improvise some sort of blinker using bark, cloth, or even carved out of wood like this, Inuit style. And they really work. Shelter, fire and water help to save the energy you've got in your body and use it efficiently. But to really stay warm, you've got to keep feeding your body's machine. And of course that means being able to find food. The lakes up here provide good fishing. The problem is how to break through a metre of ice. To do that, I need a tool that can often be found in wilderness cabins. That's what I'm looking for, an auger. That makes drilling through the ice real easy. There's the bait, and in this case I'm going to use this thing called a pike scissor. It's a spring-loaded hook that really gets hold of the fish and doesn't let it get away. But you could use just an ordinary hook weighted down with a bit of ballast. And I've attached the line to this stick which has got a fork in it. Now the reason for this is I'm going to suspend the line in the hole using this stick, and if the hole freezes I can chip it out without cutting the line, which is lower down. That's important. So I just drop the fish straight down the hole. Have to encourage him down a little bit. Use another stick for that. There he goes. Down it goes. So hold that there. You can put it on the lip, but it's better to use a second stick like this. Now, fishing holes like this freeze from the edge in if they're left on their own. So to prevent that, I'm going to stuff some spruce boughs down beside it. Right here. A good packing of spruce boughs will stop it freezing hard. And the last thing is to cover it all over with snow to keep it insulated. That also helps to prevent it freezing solid. And then I'll put a little twig in here just to mark its location.
I'll set another 5 hooks and leave them all overnight, and we'll see what we get.
Tell you what, that's the coldest my hands have been all the time I've been here. And the reason for that is that down on these lakes you get lots of low-lying cold air. You need a top tip then, this one. If you can't touch a little finger to your thumb and make this old Indian sign that means I'm all right, you're in trouble. Because your hands are so cold you can't perform simple operations like lighting a fire or even driving out of here. The human eye can't see heat escaping from our bodies. But in these conditions, you can literally feel it leaking away.
With a thermal imaging camera, you can really see what happens. The white and yellow areas show where I'm losing most heat. When I take off my glove, you can see just how quickly heat transfers to the glove. And if I touch anything like a glass fibre snowmobile with my bare hand, you can see how much heat I lose by conduction.
In deep snow, just moving can be almost impossible. When you consider that on a snowmobile, what takes 15 minutes travelling by machine can take up to 24 hours to walk. There are some real problems. Being able to improvise can be vital. I guess you could say I'm improvising now. I've borrowed the crew's cabin here so that I can show you clearly how to make this. This is the tool that will get you out through deep snow, the improvised snowshoe.
Any wood will work for this as long as it's flexible. Stripping the bark off helps the bindings to stay tight.
Now I'm just going to tie them loosely to start with at the fine tip. Now I've got to establish the point of balance for the snowshoe, because when I walk in it only the toe is going to be attached, and I want the point to tip up so that it doesn't dig into the snow each time I take a step. There we go, I've lashed on the 2 cross pieces. This forward one goes under the ball of my foot and this rearward one under the heel. I've obviously used nylon cord. There's no real way of improvising that from natural materials in this environment in the winter. So that's one of the critical pieces of equipment you should always have in your pocket. At the tail end of the snowshoe, I just loosely bind the sticks together so that there's a bit of movement in them, some play, so they don't get broken. To finish a snowshoe, I need to curve the prow up like that, just like a ski, with this cord here, and put on some binding material. I'm using lampwick, which is a strange material that very commonly used in the far north. It's been used for binding materials for centuries, and it's absolutely perfect for this job. Something you can often find left in cabins. Right, well, the proof of the pudding is in the doing. In survival situations, small things can make big differences. It's the custom in the Arctic Circle to always leave kindling in refuge huts so that someone who's cold can rewarm themselves quickly. It's also the custom to leave a box of matches with the matches sticking out like that, something that saved many lives. A few years ago, a man stationed in a remote weather station in Greenland managed to save his own life by following this common courtesy. He'd gone polar bear hunting with a colleague when, after spending the first night in a hut, they set out on a snowmobile in temperatures of -20. Well, they hadn't gone very far before the machine broke through ice. The passenger managed to jump off, and he took his gloves off and pulled the driver off of the machine, which had already gone into water. They tried to stagger back to the hut, but after only 100 yards, the driver collapsed and died.
The second man struggled on, knowing his only hope was to reach the hut. He'd lost his gloves in the accident, and his hands were badly frostbitten. By the time he made it into the hut, his hands were useless, but he still managed to light the fire.
The man spent 7 weeks in hospital, and luckily doctors were able to save his hands. But without a doubt, he owes his life to his own thoughtfulness for others and remembering to leave that simple matchbox. Oh, it's a beautiful morning. Right, well, now's the moment of truth. Going to see what's in those fishing holes. The crew have bet me a whiskey that there won't be anything. Nothing on that one. Hello, hello, hello. Come on, Mr. Pike. That's great. Beautiful pike for dinner. Couldn't be better. Another one. Number 2. Perfect. Well, not a bad haul though. 2 nice pike. Pretty good, I reckon, for one night's fishing.
I think that'll be a double whiskey, boys. A good meal and a drink. I can't believe my luck. Sometimes survival skills really do pay off. Next week, the power of positive thinking.